I don't know why, but I'm so happy to be here. I am here. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Another Tuesday night thoughts and talk with Coach Wendy Hazel. It will look all different, but I'm here. You're hearing the sound of my voice, and that's what like is super important to me right now. So hop on in, come on in. Good night. Tag again, tag or invite someone to jump on into this conversation tonight. I'm Coach Wendy Hazel. I am a certified master life coach. You might have seen a post. I had a little graduation celebration. I think was last week. So I am it happened a long time ago, but I am now officially a master life certification certified master life coach. I gotta get used to saying it right, but I'm a master coach. And I coach women in particular. I can coach anybody, but in particular, I've been called to coach women who are in hurtful relationships, in relationships with narcissistic personalities, difficult relationships. It could be at home, it could be intimate relationships like marriage or intimate relationship. It could be family members that you're dealing with. It could be persons in the church that you're dealing with or some organization you're in. It could be on your job, a manager, a boss, a co-worker, right? But we come into contact with these persons and they relating with the persons and how they handle us, it's abusive. Sometimes, not sometimes. We're talking about those persons who are verbally, emotionally abusive to us, and it's hurtful, it's painful. And so I coach women who are going through that or dealing with that and who want to learn how to overcome those things and how to get back to who you are supposed to be, how to get back your inner peace. Because when you're dealing with difficult persons, difficult personalities, difficult relationships, you lose that inner peace. There's so much turmoil on the inside. Your thoughts are just going all the time. The person may not be there, but the painful words and actions and behaviors it's just tormenting, right? And so we lose our inner peace when we're dealing with persons like that. And so through coaching, you can get back to that place of inner peace. You in the process of dealing with difficult people too, we lose ourselves, our sense of self, because we end up giving so much and not getting in return, right? We end up giving, and especially if you're a people pleaser kind of person, that is so difficult, right? That's so difficult. And so you give of yourself, and you find that you're not getting back because other persons, you find like abusive narcissistic persons are not givers; they're just takers. And so you you find that you kind of lose your sense of self. You stop doing self-care, stop taking care of yourself. Through coaching and with support, you can get back to that sense of self, that sense of who God created you to be, kind of connecting again with your gifts and your talents, your callings given by God for the purpose and to have a fulfilling life, okay, for purpose. And so through coaching, I help women do that. And when you find that when you get to that place of getting back yourself, you get more clarity in your mind, your creativity just comes forward again. When we're in oppressive and hurtful relationships, our creativity, which is that connection, real free flow of the Holy Spirit inside of us, for those of us who are Christians, that dies down. It dies down and we get disconnected from it, right? And so that creativity, that sense of creativity and really hearing God's voice, we kind of lose that. Your prayer life goes down, you lose that. The prayer, you get weary in prayer because you're praying and not seeing any change, and we lose that. And so with support and knowing, how, I'm not saying some persons will say that they can do it all alone, but some cannot. And so those are the ones who need support that I help to coach through doing that, getting back, reconnecting, strengthening your relationship with God again, reconnecting with God again. That's needed so much. Okay, so that's what I do, and I'm happy to have you here joining with me live. Now, if I can get to this part with the comments. And I want to encourage you, if you're here, just say hi, say good night, so that I know you're here. I can acknowledge you and appreciate you. If you're watching this video on the replay, if you missed the live, you're watching it on the replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments, and so I get a chance to really appreciate you and see who you dropped in, right? You dropped in, and that's something. And feel free, if you feel safe, to leave a comment. And so I know that something I shared was meaningful for you. Or if you know of someone who's going through dealing with difficult relationships, you want to share them, right? So I do lives on Facebook every Tuesday night, and then I post the recording and the replay on YouTube as well. So there's some persons who are not comfortable being on Facebook. They don't connect there that much. That's just not their thing. You can share the YouTube link. You go over to YouTube, you search for Coach Wendy Hazel, you'll find the channel there. So it's posted there. I also have it on as podcast. I post the audio version. So you may be in a situation where you don't want to watch the video, you don't want us to be watching my face, or it's not convenient for you. You can listen to it on Anchor, on Spotify. I know it's on Apple Podcast, and some other places that Anchor just distributes them for me, okay? So wherever you go and listen for podcasts. But for the podcast, I come up under Lifting Limiting Lids. I'm the founder of Lifting Limiting Lids. And so on the podcast, you can search Lifting Limiting Lids and you're going to find me there, okay? But just feel free to share. So thank you. I appreciate you for being here tonight. Hi, Jennifer. Good night. Good night. Good night. Awesome. Now, if I can get it so right, this is what I wanted. Good, to be able to see you guys on the side there. Yeah. So tonight I want to be talking about that big word it's a little word, but it's a big word. It's a little word, but it's a whole sentence by itself. Right? Don't need no explanation, right? And that's the word no. That's the word no. N-O. N-O is a complete sentence. It needs no explanation. No explanation. If you say no, the person understands what we said. But sometimes we just want to go on and give explanation and stuff like that. Jesus said what? Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything more than that you add on is coming from the evil one. And my interpretation of that is when we start to give all the explanations for our no's and stuff, we start to tangle ourselves up. Okay? We start to tangle ourselves up and we open the door for other persons to just come and manipulate and change our minds and things like that. Okay? Hi Adele, good evening. Happy to have you, right? Happy to have you. So saying no, it's so important to say no. It's so important to say no and to know how to say no. Sorry, something fell. And to know how to say no, you know. But I think about it, when we were born, before the adults get too much into our heads to change it, we were saying no to things that we didn't like, we didn't want, didn't taste good, didn't feel good. We said no. We said no, right? As a baby. That's the first thing. We come out and we have boundaries, right? We have boundaries. And when we're talking no, we're talking boundaries. Boundaries that are set for myself, for what I like, what I don't like, what is okay with me, what is comfortable with me, what I don't like. The babies have it. We were born with it. We were born with the ability to say no. Hi, Sharon. Right? We were born with that ability to say no. But yet as we come along in life and as we mature, for some of us, it's difficult to say that no. To say it in the right way, in the right tone, at the right time, with the right amount of impact, right? It has become difficult for us to say no. If you're a people pleaser, it's hard. It doesn't come naturally, I should say. It doesn't come naturally. I have been one who it didn't come naturally, right? It didn't come naturally. Different things happen, you know, in life, and we lose that strong sense of boundaries and self-care. and what I like, and we give, we open up our boundaries, we open up our borders, and we allow persons to come in and to change who we are. And it's not about, again, whenever I talk, I'm not faulting anybody, I'm not judging anybody, because situations happen, life happen. We were programmed like that, our different cultures we grew up in, right? We were told, no, you don't say it, or it's not nice, it's not acceptable. I know a kid saying no if mom's or parents says something. You, in some cultures, ooh, you're gonna be crying, right? You're gonna be crying. We did not come up in cultures where no was really understood well, because we weren't taught about boundaries. We weren't taught how to protect ourselves. And boundaries. I have other videos where I talk about boundaries, and talking about different types of boundaries and stuff. And as I'm on it here, let me mention that I created a challenge that's coming up November 10th, 11th, 12th, the 3-day challenge, just meeting live for 90 minutes each day, but giving you enough stuff to challenge and practice setting emotional boundaries, so that persons don't keep taking advantage of us, keep hurting our feelings. What do we say, and how do we set those boundaries? How do we maintain that boundary so that persons don't keep barging in on our emotions, in our soul, and leaving us hurt and wounded, and and all broken, right? And then, so I'll be teaching what those are, but the focus is on emotional boundaries, not the others, even though they're kind of intertwined. If you have time, I probably may touch on others, but emotional boundaries, I'll be talking what they are, why we have to have them, how are we going to do it, when you're going to do it, with whom you need to be doing it with, like communicating, how to communicate the boundaries. Because the biggest thing is, when we have boundaries, we have things we don't like, and and people don't respect that. Some people don't respect that. And then what happens is, when we don't know how to communicate it well, and then how to respond when communication is not going well, we end up responding in ways that we don't want to be. That kind of person where we have to be lashing out, or angry, or upset, or we don't want to be that kind of person. And so in that challenge, I'll be teaching on how to communicate your boundaries so that you're heard. Some people pretend they're not hearing what you're saying. Some people just don't want to hear. Some people just just feel that you're not serious. Because with all of those boundaries, you need to have also consequences. So that challenge is coming up for November 10th, 11th, 12th. I've already opened up for persons to start grabbing their seats. You have to register for your seat. There's a small, super small investment. It's $37. But that investment is not because of the price, the value, or anything. That investment is to make sure those who come into the challenge they're of one mind. You're serious about it, you want that help, you want to be there. We also, if you're dealing with difficult persons, narcissistic persons, they track you online, they track those spaces, and we trust that by just having that small investment, those persons will not come jumping in as when it's a free open something. So that's the purpose of that. If it's challenging for you for that, to make that contribution, that investment for yourself, and you're investing in yourself. Basically, it's in yourself, not in me. If that's a challenge for you, send me a private message, and let's talk about how we can still get you. Let's see how, and I believe if you reach out to me like that, you are serious. So the thing is to have serious persons in there of one mind. We have one goal, and we can freely share some stuff. Okay, so I'm going to drop the link for that. That link is, let me see, make sure I get it right. It's bit.ly. It's going to be at bit.ly, and it's Emotional Boundaries Challenge. I believe I got it. I believe I got the link right. So I just dropped the link there. There we go. Bingo. So, yes. So you're going to go there and just sign up and get your seat. The seats are going to be limited. I can't manage too many people. I'm going to limit the seats. So get in there early, and let's have that time. Because I tell you what, We're coming to the end of the year. We're heading for a new year. Wouldn't you like to go into the new year with some skills and some strategies and some ways where you can handle things better so that you have more peace of mind, even though persons may not want to change, but you have a greater peace of mind because you're empowered to handle them, you're empowered to communicate properly, you're empowered to take care of yourself, right? Your own self-care, and if you have kids, as a result, your kids. When we have that clear mind, I was saying earlier, when we have that clarity in our mind, creativity comes forth and we're more productive. We're more productive because when we're dealing with such personalities, especially when you're living with them, depression is just so common. We go into depression because of dealing with this stuff. When you go into depression, you really don't feel like doing anything. You're not as productive as you can be. You're not fulfilling the call God has in your life, or ministry, if you're in ministry, that goes down. And so it's time to just, wake up. Wake up. New season, new year, new season. Treat yourself to that. Treat yourself to that. That I am going into the new year as somebody going into a new season. Not being the same she I used to be. Let us be different. Okay? So let's talk a bit about no. So welcome to everybody who's hanging out listening to us. We have different ways we say no. Somebody come and ask us for something and we have different ways we say no. Some of us, it may be difficult for us to say just no. You're just not wired that way, right? We're just not wired that way. We won't do that. But we may say, okay, or no worries, no problem. We have different ways we put it over, but it's not a strong yes. It's not a strong yes. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody asks you to do something, you're being asked to do stuff, and you're not comfortable with it. You're not comfortable, but you still give a kind of no. You still give a kind of no. That kind of no, you're not saying yes outright. You're not saying no outright. It's not solid yes and no. And when we learn about boundaries and setting boundaries and self-care and protecting myself, we get to the place of that solid no and solid yes. I'm not saying I've arrived there yet, but I've come a long way from where I used to be. Everything used to be okay. Everything for me used to be okay. Somebody said that? Okay. And I just accept it without doing stuff, And then what happens is that after a time, I am accepting and I'm doing things, but then I start to feel the pressure of it. I start to feel it's too much. You start to feel that overwhelm because I didn't know how to give a solid no, so that when I said yes, it was a solid yes. How many of you tend to be in that in-between space? You say yes, but it's not a solid yes, but you say it because of who the person is that asks, because of maybe what people would think if I said no. Because you have a because when you give that answer. When we have a solid no, a solid yes, there's no because. This is what I am choosing to do. This is what I'm choosing to do. Okay? Now, in the post I talked about the good no and the bad no. Those no's that are not the solid no's, those are bad no's. Because they come back to haunt us, to put us in an emotional place that we're not happy with, right? That we're not happy with. A good no is a well-reasoned no. You think about it. And it's not that you can't give it. It's not that you and I can't give it. We do. We do give. We do make those good no's. You go to buy something or somebody offering you something. And what do? We ask questions about it. We try to find out more about it. Was this person, It may be price of something in the store, or it might be something. But we do reason, the well-reasoned out no's. We ask and we check out if you want to buy a house or a car or whatever. We do some reasoned no's. So that when we get enough information, we think about it, then we give that answer. And we say, you know what? No, I'm thinking about it. No. And when we give that no, it's a solid no, because we've reasoned out and we've checked out the things around what was asked of us. It's called assessing the ask. We assess what is being asked of us. Who is this person asking this? What's being offered? Who is it offering? What is this? Is this going to be good for me? Or is this going to be bad for me? They have things that you gave solid no's. So you have the ability to do it. But somehow when we come to relationships and dealing with other people and dealing with difficult people, it's not so easy to step back and give ourselves the time to reason out the ask. To reason out the ask, then to say. And then after we do it, to hold our ground and say no. Hold our ground and say no. However, when we can do that, when we can make that reason no, you find that when we do say a yes, is a yes that we will be comfortable with. It's not a yes that's going to cause us to be burnt out, tired, frustrated, angry, beating up ourselves. But let's learn to be reasoning with whatever is being asked of us. Let's learn to reason what's being asked of us. In the Bible, we're asked to be kind to others. And we also asked to love others like we love ourselves. When we don't know to give that reasoned no, when we don't know to do that solid yes, sometimes, a lot of times, it's a signal we don't love ourselves. Because when we love ourselves, we will pause and consider ourselves. What's this going to do for me? Not in a selfish way. Not in a selfish way. Some people are masters of that. What's in it for me? It's not the what's in it for me. It's what is it going to do to me? Is it going to have me not doing what I'm supposed to do? Is it going to have me tired? Is it going to have me grumpy and scratchy? What? When I continue to say yes to this thing, what is it going to do for me? What is it doing to me? And that's self-care and self-love, but not in a selfish way. When we can do that, then we can appreciate others more. And we won't do the same to others, because we will be thinking about what I'm asking of her, what I'm asking of him, what is it doing to that person? Is it putting too much pressure? Is it, we kind of get sensitive to that, okay? So learning how to assess the ask, learning how to check out the ask, what is being asked of me before. Stop and pause and slow down before saying yes. And even before saying no sometimes. Because if we're too hasty with that no, that solid no, we can miss some good opportunities. We can miss some good opportunities, right? We don't want to do that. But let's pause. Now, as Christians, we have the Holy Spirit. That pause time is time when we check in and see what sense I'm getting from the Holy Spirit, what I'm hearing God is saying to me. But you find when we programmed and grew up and giving those bad no's, that quick and not just holding stuff in and not really saying and checking it out and saying how I feel about stuff, it affects us. It affects us, right? So knowing how to say that no, it's all about your personal well-being, and also I want to say your professional success. Some of you, I'm not in the office, work in offices, work in places where it's difficult. You're just not happy. You're not happy and afraid to speak up because you saw someone else speak up and it didn't come out, it wasn't well. It didn't turn out to be so good. So the issue is not speaking up, but is knowing how to say what you want to say, how to respond, knowing how to respond, how to say your no's to persons who might be scaring the skin off of other people, right? But when you learn how to say those no's, when you pause and you consider, you can say, no, I wouldn't do that. No, that's not going to work for me. No, just how you say it. And then sometimes just a simple no. I'm afraid no. I have to say no. Different ways of saying it, but making it something firm and solid. So when something else comes along, you're saying yes. Even if nobody else is asking you something, when you say that solid no, you're saying yes to yourself. You're saying yes to yourself. You're making way to say yes to yourself. And sometimes we need a season where we're spending a lot of time saying yes to ourselves because we have spent so much time saying no to ourselves. And it's okay. It's okay to have that season. It's okay to step back and have that time out of saying yes to me. That's okay. All right? So I wanted to share that about no's. And let me just see if there's any. Don't worry about upsetting people. Don't worry, people will be upset. You hear me say that over and over. We have to allow respect that this is another human being who has emotions inside of them. We have no control over those emotions. They were wired one way, they were brought up one way, a different way, and they will have reaction. When we get reactions inside of us too, it's not that we stretch it and turn on a tap. We didn't turn that on. It happened. And now here we are triggered by it and we are responding to it. Other human beings do the same. So when you say you're no and somebody's not happy about it, that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to shift from your position. It just means that person is processing what they didn't expect to hear. And we need to just give them time to process that. Allow them to process it. Allow them to process it. Eventually, after time, to realize that, this is a boundary, I cannot cross it. This person is not moving, is not shifting the boundary. Shifting lines cause problems. Physical and in your soul, emotional. In physical, people move boundaries or people want to jump your fence and jump over. It causes problems. You just don't do that. For some reason, you go through Old Testament and you see God designed, set up boundaries, and they said where the boundaries were, and it was clear. And in His wisdom, He knew why. Because as humans, there's some persons who would totally disrespect a boundary. They go and claim ownership of the piece of land. They go and plant their own thing, and then they have tricky ways. If you live with where there's land and stuff, things that people can do. Shifting a boundary, crossing a boundary, jumping over a boundary, pretending you don't know that's the boundary line can cause a lot of conflict in relationships with others, right? And so the same way, let us have our boundaries, guard ourselves, learn how to say that solid no, and so we can be saying some solid yeses as well. That doesn't leave us all tangled up like a pretzel, okay? All right, so that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. If you have any questions, just hop on in, share this with someone. Let them know that, don't matter the relationship, and don't forget family members. Some relationships are easier to do it than others, but with the persons closest to us, I don't know. I guess everybody's different. It might be easier for you to do it to somebody close to you, close. And for some people, it's easier to do it with people who are not that close. And they hold that distance. It's an individual thing, I believe. Okay? So that's it. So have a great night. Appreciate if you were here early and was waiting. I appreciate your patience. And remember to, if you want to learn how to get stronger with your emotional boundaries so that you can just have a happier, more fulfilling life, better relationships, be respected, be heard, restore your creativity, be more productive, come out of the funk that you might be in, the fog and the blog and the down and the depression, you want to come out. This is one little area, and it's a key and important area of learning how to set, how to manage, and how to communicate your emotional boundaries. Jump in on the challenge, right? I posted the link. Feel free to jump on over there. Over there you have more information about it. Check out the information and to sign up and grab your seat. Okay? You're welcome, Adele. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for watching. Just share this. If you hop over to the YouTube channel, just remember to like those and kind of subscribe there. I want to say thanks. I went over there today and I saw my subscribers jumped, and I didn't even know that before. And I want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you. God loves you. And just keep drawing closer to God. Right? Just keep drawing closer to God. I know it's not easy when you're going through some difficult times, but the best you can. Okay? The best you can. So, good night.